I have a helmet from X-lite. I have an Arai. I have a Shoei.
All the helmets in these videos were paid for with my own money. I have no sponsorships. I don't even get ad revenue. These are my personal opinions over the amount of time I've used them.
Welcome back to Kaidu Rider. This week we're talking about helmets. Before these three helmets, I have owned two no-name modular helmets that were cheap and performed cheaply. In university, I had, I believe it was the Bell Qualifier, which I destroyed at over 70 miles an hour. And I gotta say, it was actually pretty good for what it was, because I'm still here and no real damage. After that, I had a Speed and Strength modular helmet. Again, a really good helmet for what it was, but as does everything, Father Time took care of those helmets. So now I have these. For today's helmet, we're talking about this Shoei GT Air 2. This is the first helmet I got in Japan. I've used it in the US as well. I've had it for over 3 years and around 50,000 kilometers, give or take. The first most noticeable thing about the helmet is the art. So you can see along here, I've got the Pokemon, including a Pikachu. I've got a face so that everybody can stare at me when I'm driving around. I've got all these various anime figures. And Toonami with Bleach on the top. And of course, a Gundam. I did all that myself. It took a little over 30 hours between the drawing, the designing, and the layout, and it's held up for 3 years, so I'm pretty happy with the results. It's not for sale, so sorry if you're interested, but if you're inspired, I'm happy I could get you there. This helmet cost me around 40,000 yen, that's just under 400 US dollars, here in Japan. I know it costs more in the States. You have to look up your own prices for that. Okay, so to go through the helmet, we'll go from the top down, just because it's easy. So at the top is this air vent, which opens like that, closes. It's very easy, gloves on or not. I've never ridden it without gloves, so I'll just stay with gloves on. But it flows enough air, nothing amazing, but it gets the job done, and it also blocks everything out when it's cold or wet outside. Besides the artwork, the only custom part on the whole helmet is this GoPro mount. I've never actually used it, ironically, but it doesn't interfere with anything. It doesn't interfere with the art on my chin. It doesn't interfere with the airflow up here, and the visor still opens with the pin lock installed. I know you heard that kind of hit sound where the visor hits the GoPro mount. It's been doing that for over a year. It hasn't caused a problem, nothing scratched, nothing damaged. But I'm not telling you to do that. It's your helmet if you so buy this or have this. Live it your way. Do what you want with it. So in the visor, I have the pin lock right now installed. I almost never take it out because now I pretty much use this helmet only for cold or wet weather. The visor opens and closes really good. When you close it, there's this little snap. If you push it down right there, it doesn't work. So if you have the visor cracked open just a little bit, then when you close it, you have to kind of open it and shut it. Again, 50,000 kilometers, 3 years. Maybe that's all to be expected. Oh, the pin lock has been perfect as long as you replace it after a year. I'm saying replace it after a year because I ride so much. I'll put 20,000 kilometers in a year quite easily. When it starts to get foggy, it gets foggy. Yours might last a long time, it might not. This is not the original pin lock. This is not the original visor. Both have been scratched up enough after about the first year. So 1 year ago, I replaced them both. And inside, you have this removable breath guard, which it pops out pretty easy. It pops in easy enough, and I always leave it in because internal sun visor. And with the internal sun visor, if I tilt it up, now it's the full skeleton face. You can't see my nose, you can't see my eyes, it's blacked out, and it gives me the ability to be secretive in Japan rather than the standout white guy. The visor is amazing. It has no issues. It's cable actuated here on the side. Gloves or not, it's easy to find. And it's absolutely wonderful. It's sometimes better than the actual visor. So if the actual visor's too fogged up or too scratched or too dirty, I'll open that and use the internal visor. That is the original internal visor. I've had no issues with it. It's amazing. It blocks enough wind to ride with the visor open. I've done that all the way up to recently 125 with the visor open and the inside visor down. It worked great. It kept enough wind out and it let enough air in. Moving to the front, you have this little chin vent. If I compared the chin vent to the upper vent, I'll say that this is better in the sense that sometimes the pin lock was reaching its age limit, or I didn't have the pin lock in because I hadn't replaced it yet. This will clear up most of the visor and it'll get a little bit of fresh air flowing. So I like that quite a bit. I like the way it goes with my design. It's kind of just longer teeth when it's down, slightly more open mouth when it's up. It's probably not noticeable to anyone but me, but it makes me happy. And again, that's a personal thing. Now, one thing I forgot is there's these little levers on both sides to adjust how high the visor comes down or stays open. I've never adjusted them. I just stuck with standard. I like it coming all the way down, and that's that. Now, if we flip to the bottom, you can see this chin curtain, which this did rip at one point. If you can see this slightly uneven stitch, I fixed it myself. I just used a hand needle and thread. That ripped really quick, actually. That ripped maybe 3 months in, but I was doing a road trip across America. It was getting used a lot. So my 3 months are most riders' year or so. I did close to 30 or 35,000 kilometers on that trip. That was the only damage to the helmet, so that's pretty good. This was my only helmet at the time, and that trip's why I got a second helmet. You'll see right here, you have this ratchet. It's pretty good. I like it. It's easy on, easy off. Shoei's tested it. It's a Shoei helmet. So they're not going to do anything they're not sure is safe. You have these little ropes to pull off the emergency cheek pads. I've never had to use that. This helmet's never been crashed in. And there's these little side comm things. I don't use them. I have a Bluetooth headset that I tuck inside. And the pads, if you can see, they're not that old. They were replaced maybe 8 months ago because they got so worn out. But now, if you can hear, there's a lot of things that are worn out on this, so it's getting time to replace the whole thing. But that's what the inside's like. That's what opening and closing is like. I like it. I'm very happy with it. And you'll see there's a running theme of that style coming up. The main reason you're looking at this helmet is probably because it's very quiet. At least that's what you're told. As someone that's owned it up to allegedly around 100 miles an hour, and I've had it for over 50,000 kilometers, 3 years. Yeah, it's really quiet. My other helmets that I've owned, that I've used at any point, nothing's as quiet as this. This is quieter on a naked bike than my Bell was on a Goldwing. So this is an amazing helmet. This is the only helmet I would say I could actually tour without earplugs if I really didn't want to. Obviously, you should wear earplugs if you're doing a 10-hour day in the saddle for at least some of it, but this is unquestionably quiet. Is there something better? I don't know. But is there any reason for me to want something quieter than this? No. This is an amazing helmet. As for visibility, the visor is about as big as my speed and strength visor was. For this style of road-focused helmet, it's a pretty good visor. But if you notice my other two visors, this is the smallest visor I own. But for you, it could easily be the biggest visor you own. If you're a completely road-focused person, this is a plenty big visor, and there's no visibility issues. But when you get used to adventure-style helmets or open-face helmets, the chin bar does start to get in your way. That's another reason I'll be retiring this helmet soon, but it's in no way bad. As for the weather that it's experienced, I went all the way across the lower 48 states of the US with this helmet. I've gone all around Japan. So I've seen typhoons, I've seen northern rainforests, which technically is what's in Washington state. I've seen weak long rainstorms in this helmet while traveling. I've seen mountains, I've seen snow, ice, I've seen desert heat. I've worn this down to -2 Celsius. I am not recommending you ride below zero on a motorcycle. You take your own risks. I'm not saying I'm a role model. I've worn it over 45 Celsius in a desert. It's great down to those low degrees. If I were to use this as a snowmobile helmet for the sake of the warmth, I'm sure it would work great. The desert heat, it's fine as long as you're going at highway speed. Stop and go, it gets hot. That's another reason why coming back to Japan, where it stays over 30 for months, I got my Arai helmet for ventilation because this gets hot. At those temperatures, anything above 30, I don't like wearing this helmet. It's not bad until 35. So a lot of my viewers are out of the UK. You guys call 20 a lovely summer day. So if that's you, this might be the perfect helmet for you if you're a road-only person. But that is one gripe I had with the weather. As far as other problems, I did say this head vent, even before I put the GoPro on, it makes enough of a difference, but it's really, really minuscule compared to my other helmets, especially. It's fine. It's not crazy. You're wearing a helmet, you're wearing a full face helmet, so take what you get. I don't think anything compares to the Arai XD4 with ventilation, so that's probably a really unfair comparison. The other negative was, as I said, the chin curtain has ripped before. It ripped down here and it ripped along here, and I fixed it. No problem, and it's not like it's an expensive thing. And there's a little bit of a squeakiness to the gaskets. I can also feel that the styrofoam inside the helmet, if I squeeze it a little in that compared to my Arai, compared to my new X-lite, it is getting a little harder. If you look at the manufacturer, I'm right at the mileage to say this helmet has earned its keep. I don't go touring like that anymore as much because I have a job and I have a wife, and I don't know that she wants me to leave her for another 4 months of road tripping. But maybe on a second thought, I can convince her to come with me, so that could be a fun alternative. But yeah, I have 2 other helmets now. I will save this for heavy rain depending on tests with my X-lite helmet. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I can't think of anything else right now to say about the helmet, but I'll give you one more quick spin around if you want to see the art. And if you're curious about my Arai helmet, that video is coming up, so just wait for that. If you're curious about the X-lite helmet, I'm sure you're wondering what was it, because I only found it because of one of YouTube's targeted ad algorithms, and I'm happy I did. But that's it for the Shoei GTR 2. Thanks for watching. This has been Kairyu Rider.